Good morning. Welcome to welcome to a full day of eating. What did we just do?
We just went for a walk. Now we're making the breakfast.
Now we're making the breakfast, right, Cora?
Right?
What are you having?
What?
What are you having?
I'm having waffles.
Me too. Alright, this is one of my favorite breakfasts that I've been having for probably years now. We have the Kodiak cake mix. I make them here with our little mini waffle maker. This mix has 15 grams of protein in it, and then I top it with our favorite granola butter. So good if you haven't tried that yet. And then 2 ounces of raspberries for some fiber. And then I have my protein coffee on the side. So I'll put the totals of this meal here. But it's just a really quick, easy, delicious meal to eat while everybody's also eating their breakfast. Alright, Kai's off to school. I'm chilling with Cora until her first nap of the day. I told you guys on Instagram I would answer your questions about macros and nutrition throughout this whole video. So throughout this video, while I'm showing you what I'm eating, I'm just going to kind of touch on some of the most commonly asked questions. But just to elaborate more on my breakfast, since I know somebody will ask, the protein I use in my coffee is First Form. I've tried many others and they're okay, but none of them quite dissolve or taste as good as First Form level 1 protein. So that's what we use. I use the caramel latte or the cinnamon cookie batter flavor, and I've used that for years, 2 years, 3 years, I don't even know. I really try to make it high in protein for my first meal of the day, and bless you. And also make sure I'm getting some fiber in, getting some plants in there. I could easily just eat those waffles plain, but I always try to add some berries or some fruit to the side just to get some plants in. And they're just easy. Like, I started eating that breakfast specifically when Kai was a baby, and like I was trying to juggle feeding him and feeding myself, and now he still eats them to this day, so he'll probably eat them soon too. But it's just a good, quick, easy breakfast that is balanced, delicious, makes me feel good. All right, let's answer some of these questions, Cora. This one came up a few times, kind of similar questions. The first one said, is it worth doing all that work, or is it only for specific things? And then the next one said, why do it? It looks like a lot of work for what? I have been tracking macros on and off since 2014. The reason why I do it is because it gets me to my specific goals in the most efficient way possible. So in the fastest way possible. It also, when used correctly, teaches you a heck of a lot about nutrition. So I've learned so much through just tracking macros. I've learned what my body likes and what my body prefers. I learned what really is optimal for my body as far as protein, carbs, and fats, even calories. So a lot of people track calories, but the issue with only tracking calories, you're probably not taking in enough protein or fiber, and you're not just thinking about it. Tracking calories can be a great way to see weight loss, but weight loss does not mean fat loss. And also, tracking macros isn't just a diet or just something to use for fat loss. Like, you can use it for so many different phases of life. Like if your goal is muscle gain, you can adjust your macros to accommodate that. If you need to reverse diet and you've been under eating for so long, you can set your macros to that. Throughout pregnancy and postpartum, I track loosely just to make sure I'm eating enough. So, macros really can be something that is all encompassing. It's not just for fat loss, which I think a lot of people don't really understand about it. Is it worth it? For me, yes, because it gets me to my goals in the most efficient way possible. For those who will say tracking macros seems like a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie to you, it is at first. Just like any new skill, let's say you're trying to learn how to ride a bike, or you're trying to learn a new language. Does that feel hard at first? Yes. Does that feel like a lot of work at first? Yes, because it's new to you. But when you really take the time to practice this skill and hone in on this skill, you get to the point where it's just like an automatic behavior. It just is something that I do. It makes me feel good. And there's nothing out there that has made me feel as good as I do when it comes to reaching my goals than tracking macros. So for me, it is more than worth it. And as you get better at practicing it, it's not as hard or time consuming as it is in the beginning. We'll leave that one there. I'm gonna go put this one down for her first nap here in a little bit and get a workout in. So that breakfast essentially is my pre-workout meal also. So a nice balance of protein and carbs, a little bit of fats, and yeah, we're gonna do, I think I'm supposed to do a lower body day today, but I'm so sore. So I think I might just swap it and do one of my upper body days instead. Yeah. All right, Cora is asleep. She should be out for an hour and a half. So I'm gonna get my workout in and maybe hopefully a little bit of work too. I'm just making my electrolytes and creatine drink that I've been having every day. So started taking creatine again like 3 weeks ago or so, maybe a month ago now. Take it every day, not just on training days. I also have 2 packets of Element, which is the electrolytes that we love and use. You can get a free sample pack in the description of this video, but I usually have 2 of these per day also. And then I also recently started taking Nutrafol just to help with the slight postpartum hair loss that is happening like at my hairline. So this will take like 3 months before we see any progress, but I am taking that. So just pairing all of my supplements here together for the day. And then I do take one more thing I'll show you at the end of the day. Another common question really quick somebody asked was, is it more important to hit your calories or your macros? So your macros essentially equate out to your calories. So if you're hitting your macros, you're hitting your calories. I would say focus on hitting your macros as consistently as possible, but no, you don't have to hit them down to the gram every day. Workout was done in 45 minutes. Miss Cora woke up after an hour and 15-minute nap, which was pretty good. And I fed her, and it's time to go get Kai from school. So that's what we're doing now. And then I'll probably have my post-workout meal when we get back. So let's go get the boy. How was school?
Good.
Good. What are you eating? Pretzels. I'm gonna make a post-workout meal. I'm starving, so I'm gonna have some toast. We love the Dave's Killer bread. Specifically, the green one is my favorite because each piece has 5 grams of fiber and 5 grams of protein. The other ones are still good. They just don't have quite as much. So I have 2 pieces of these toasting up. I'm gonna have some eggs.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, chickens do not lay eggs all year. Well, they've been laying, but it's just a lot less. So we are back to buying our eggs until the spring probably. 1 full egg, 3 egg whites. The reason why I'm doing egg whites opposed to 4 full eggs is because I want to have some avocado on my toast, which is fat. So instead of loading up this meal with a lot of fat, I'm gonna be picky about where that's coming from. And I love avocado toast because avocados also have a good amount of fiber in them too. So I'll have half of this avocado on 1 piece of toast. The other piece of toast, I will show you what I will do. Biggest hack to get more fiber.
Yeah,
and
has to get more fiber.
So I have my toast here. I took regular raspberries and I just took my fork and just smushed them. And we call this smushed berry toast. Kind of an alternative to jelly that's a little bit healthier. No added sugar, which is really hard to find a good jelly without added sugar in it. And it's delicious. And I will put the final macros on the screen here. So I put some cinnamon on my raspberries, everything but the bagel seasoning on my avocado, hot sauce on my eggs. Kai is also eating avocado toast. How is it?
Good.
All right, dinner time. I did have a few snacks between the last meal that you saw and this meal that were high in protein. So I had a cup of the cottage cheese. I love to get the little cups and use them as a dip for the pretzels that we get at Costco, the dots, which are so good. So that was like protein and carbs mostly. the cottage cheese had 19 grams of protein, which is like perfect snack. And then Kai and I had some, what was the snack that we had earlier after our lunch? Chocolate what?
Chocolate.
Raisins.
Chocolate raisin, yay!
Like half a serving of those. So we have a good amount of food left for dinner. So we're having some pasta. So this is the chickpea pasta that we love, Bonzo. We've been eating it for years. It has...
Guys, guess what I have? I got the words one, and I can actually see.
Alphabet. This has 11 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber per serving. So I'm making some for Josh and I'm making some for Kai. He'll have his with butter or sauce usually. We'll see what he's in the mood for tonight. And then to add some more plants, even though that's technically a plant, it's a processed plant, but it's a plant. I added in the Costco veggies that I just finished the bag. We love these. They're frozen. They're so good to just whip up if you need to add a side of veggies in for your dinner. Then also cooking up some 90-10 ground beef for more protein, and then I'll probably just have it with sauce. So that puts me at 130 grams of protein, 191 grams of carbs, and 70 grams of fat. So I really just have a bunch of carbs and a little protein left. I'll probably end the night with a yasso bar. We'll see how I'm feeling after dinner. Admittedly, the bedtime chaos last night was just all over the place. So I didn't get to show you my last snack or what I did before bed. So let's recap that now. After dinner, I did have a chocolate covered yasso bar. So we love the caramel flavor. If you guys have not tried those yet, they are chef's kiss. They're so good. They're just a great little healthy snack. Kai loves them. They honestly taste really good. They're not like one of those fake ice creams that just taste like chalk. Like it's just froyo. So we love those. They have great macros too. Then I got Cora ready for bed, fed her and put her down for 7. Then at 7 I had my second Element packet. So I do the warm flavors at night. So they're chocolate flavors. They're so good warm. Like if you just like to sip on something warm in the winter, they're my favorite. So I had one of those and read my book a little bit before bed. And then right before bed, I have my actual magnesium supplement. I'll put a picture of the one that I have here. I honestly have been using this since probably 2013. So over a decade now. I'd switched to First Forms for a little bit, but I just like the taste of this one better than anything. It's just it's like a lemony flavor and it just is refreshing right before bed. But magnesium helps promote better sleep, but also if you struggle, especially postpartum mothers, if you struggle with digestion and just if you have hemorrhoids, if you have any like postpartum things going on down there, magnesium, this one specifically, is so helpful. It can help digestion a little bit. It kind of acts as, I don't want to say it acts as a laxative because it doesn't, but it kind of has mild laxative effects, and it just kind of makes everything easier to, if you catch my drift. But I've been taking it forever and it just can help with regularity. It's one of the best supplements out there. So magnesium, they do have it in pill form too, but I just like this little drink. It's a nice little pre-bed ritual, and I don't drink a full glass of it. I just fill my glass with like maybe an inch of water. So that was the full day of eating. I ended up hitting macros pretty good. I was a little over on fats, which again, I'm not being like strict right now. So I ended up hitting 137 grams of protein, 220 grams of carbs, so a little bit under, and then 82 grams of fat, around 2,100 calories. So pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. It was a good balanced day with lots of different fruits and veggies, hitting my protein, hitting my fiber. I hit 40 grams of fiber, and some snacks with Kai, and just, a good mix of everything. So that's the full day of eating update. Let's rapid fire answer a few more of your guys' questions. So, best time to take electrolytes doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. You can drink them over a few hours. You can have them like I did, one in the beginning of the day, one at the end of the day. It truly doesn't matter. I like Element though because there's no added sugar or extra crap ingredients in the dosages of Magnesium, potassium, and sodium are optimal based on research, so that's why we choose Element. Ways to help with the end of the day bloat. Not sure if you've done a video on this before. I haven't done a full video on this because I think the issue a lot of people go through with end of the day bloat is that people who are chronically under eating for a long time and are just not eating optimal fiber, optimal protein, optimal calories in general, tend to just not know what it feels like to be full. It's normal for your belly to expand at the end of the day. Bloat in the sense of where it's very expanded, it's painful to the touch, you have lots of gas. That is not normal. That means you're probably eating something that is not agreeing with you or something else is going on there. But your stomach is not going to always be as flat as it is when you wake up in the morning, because think about it, you're eating food. It has to go somewhere and your stomach is going to expand a little bit. That's normal. Is there a specific fat intake for post-workout meal or snack that is ideal? Honestly, you guys, I think maybe 5% of you are probably in the place where you need to focus on macro breakdowns per meal, especially fat intake. Like, this is just one of those things that is not going to make a big difference. I'd rather see you eat a balanced meal pre-workout, have a great workout, or if you don't eat before you work out, you have a balanced meal afterwards. You know, what I showed you today, there was pretty good amount of fat in both of my pre and post-workout meals. It's not something that's going to hinder you, and it's not something to get caught up on. I'd rather see you be consistent across the entire day. Been in a deficit for far too long, how to increase calories without gaining too much fat. So if you've been in a deficit for an extended period of time, like over 3 months, you're gonna probably need to reverse diet if you're not ready to just like hop back up to your maintenance intake. We have a whole reverse dieting cheat sheet in the app. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but in the app we have a whole PDF library of like how to set your macros, what like reverse dieting 101. It will walk you through exactly what you need to do, but you're essentially going to increase carbs and fats slowly over time until you get to a point where you're able to maintain. Lots of questions about like fats and carbs. Are those as important as hitting your protein? So Alessandra 5 years ago would have said, yes, you have to hit everything. But as we gain more knowledge and learn new things, you know, what we have a lot of clients focus on now is just hitting their calories and their protein. So protein is most important. I would say if you're trying to not track all the things, focus on protein and calories. Calories also on top of protein, because if you're just focusing on protein and you're kind of letting carbs and fats fall wherever, but you're also not focusing on calories, you could gain weight or you could lose weight depending on what your goal is. That might be not ideal. Protein, calories, and fiber, I would say those are the top 3 things. And then you can absolutely let carbs and fats kind of fall wherever they need to fall based on your preferences. Some people prefer higher carb diets, some people prefer higher fat diets. How do you go about rotating different foods around so you don't get bored with food? All right, this will be our last question. So if you guys go back and watch all of my full day of eating videos, you'll see a lot of these meals look very similar. The biggest things that we change are our plant intake throughout each meal. So for example, if I have the same breakfast tomorrow that I had today, the Kodiak waffles with my protein coffee and my Kodiak waffles are always pretty constant. And then I'll either switch up, like sometimes I'll put granola butter on, sometimes I'll use regular maple syrup, sometimes I'll put jelly on them, sometimes I'll just do butter. So you can switch it up that way. And then my fruit on the side, you can switch that up. So I'll do raspberries one day, blackberries a different day, maybe half of an apple the other day. So it just depends, and we just switch it out like that. For stuff like lunch and dinner, same thing. Like our protein sources are typically the same. The way that we cook them or season them is different, and then we just switch up like the sides. So rice versus potatoes, or a side of like zucchini squash sauteed versus the Costco frozen veggies that we had. So just switching up your plants and your sides, but keeping your protein consistent, but also switching up like how you season it or how you cook it can be a super helpful way to not get bored, but also be consistent with your food and not feel like you have to be constantly creating these fancy recipes every day. We eat very basic because it's easy It's fast. We have little kids. We don't have time to be spending hours per day in the kitchen cooking. Like, just not ideal for us. But also, like, this is how we used to eat pre-kids too, just because it's very convenient. It keeps things very simple. And if you guys have followed me on Instagram, I often use the hashtag basic not boring, because how we eat is very basic, but it's freaking delicious. We love how we eat. It's enjoyable, it tastes good, it's satisfying, and that's why we've been able to eat this way for the last decade, because we keep it consistent, but we also aren't afraid to add variety. I hope that makes sense. But this is all things that we work on with clients. We help our one-on-one clients figure out what works best for them as far as macros, as far as what to eat, as far as your relationship with food. So if you are interested in that, I will put the application for coaching in this description. But if you're kind of like, I just want to get my toes wet, the app has a ton of great resources too. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and I will be back next week with another update.